Just getting set up and getting some paints thrown out so I can get started on thinking up a mini real fast. Hello. Oh, sorry. Hello, how's it going, Duckling? Thanks. I've been honestly, I've just been trying to figure this one out because I've never really used most of these paints when I first got them. So I'm trying to change the skin tone to be a bit more subdued because this current one is too bright and vibrant for me. So I want something a little more subdued to let the tail pop more. But thank you kindly. I've been trying to practice. I started picking up painting this year and I've just wanted to document my journey to actually getting all this done because I've never been much for one painting before, but for some reason painting models is really just scratched an itch in the back of my head that I didn't realize I had. How's everybody been though? Everybody doing all right today? Yes, these are resin molds I buy off of Etsy. I mostly just go for resin just because they normally show a bit more detail. Hold on. Because I did 3D printing for like this guy, which I need to finish him today, and I hope I will. But you can see there's a lot more detail on the texture, and he's quite small, for example. Ah, here, I got a penny. For penny, for scale, he just has a lot of detail, and I really do appreciate having that. Until I have to paint the feathers, of course, but for the most part. Yeah, these are resin. I like them a lot. Yeah, no, I don't... I need to remember which shop I bought this one from, because a lot of these models have been really good. The one that I've worked with the most and bought from is Bearded Bison on Etsy, but that's where I've gotten most of my Driders. This one I'm excited for because I want to get him done because this is the boss for my players in my current D&D campaign. I just decided Dark Sun Gwyndolin was going to be great for a boss in the middle of a cathedral. Oh gosh dang it. I just... Oh no. I just fixed him. And now the other tin on his crown just broke off. Okay. I'm gonna have to figure out where that went if I'm ever gonna find that. That's something for later. For now, I'm gonna finish painting this one up. One thing at a time. And yeah, I'm not too sure about the quality because I don't yet have a printer. I want to buy a printer someday. It's just right now, oh shoot. I just don't have the money for a printer. I'm mostly just trying to get by. But with time, when I do have a little bit of money saved up, I'm going to buy a printer because I want to make my own custom models. Especially because I want to make some Bionicle minis because I think it'd be really fun to have some of the Rahi from that series as monsters. Because something I like to currently do whenever I do a D&D campaign is I like to modify the giant spider stat sheet, and I turn them into Visorak, just so that way it's a little bit harder as a horde fight, so higher levels actually do struggle a bit against them. But also it just shakes things up, adds some fun, and my players can't predict everything I do when I do that. Which I definitely need to do because goodness gracious. My players know a little too much, so I can't just get by on regular encounters. I gotta do something to mess with them. That, and also I'm a bit of a sadistic DM. You know, that does make sense. I'm not the best with computers. I have a friend who's really good at Blender who said he'd be willing to help me out. So I was gonna work with him, and so we were gonna work together to figure it out. Because apparently you can use STL files in Blender, so that's where I'm gonna refocus on learning, just so we can do that again. Because I definitely want to look into it more and have some fun with it, but you are right. There's a lot of stuff on the technical side that I'm gonna have to figure out, and I am not the best at that. I can get by with computers, but I'm not exactly some tech genius or tech wizard. I leave that to my friends. Do you have any suggestions on where or how to get started on that, Zach? Because I will take any and all suggestions and any leads, because this is all new to me and I'm just trying to figure it out so I can do it right. Oh yeah? That honestly checks out. Fair enough. I will definitely look into that then, because fucking around and finding out is the best way to handle things and to learn. Though, having direction also helps quite a bit. So, I'll see what my friend and I can work on in that angle then. Thank you. Because what I want to do eventually is I want to try to open up a hobby shop in my area. And so part of that would be just selling models and becoming a licensed model seller with some of the people who do stuff on Etsy, because some shops sell the same stuff between all of them, but it's because they're a licensed printer with that art company. So what I want to do is just get that open to my area, so that way I can just offer, instead of doing shipping through Etsy, I'll just have everything printed out in a physical shop in my local area, and people can just show up and grab those. At least that is my goal for the future, but never know how the future turns out until it happens, so just gonna keep working at it. And if all else fails, I am gonna eventually get a better camera so that I can stream all this in better quality, because right now I'm on my phone, and let's be real, my phone is not focusing very well on these details. Try my best, but there's like so much I can do. Online sales are definitely the future. That I do not doubt in the slightest. But my reservation with a fully online sales is that although they definitely help and work, I want to build something for my community so that it's not just a handful of people who know about it or people scattered throughout. I want to build a community that is closer together. Because one thing that I don't, between living in the US and living in Mexico, one thing I miss from living in Mexico is how involved the community always felt with things. It was something that I appreciated more. And so I want to do something to build my community so that there's more unity. And so that there's more people actually doing things, getting out and knowing each other. Sure, nerd hobby shit isn't exactly the isn't the best for community building, but it'll be something I can do and something I can work on. So, eh, we work on it until it happens or it doesn't. Either way, it's just a goal I got to work for. And I'm going to hang on to that goal until I can no longer hold on to it. Okay, fingertips. Okay. Okay, gonna leave her to the side. Let's get started with getting Gwyndolin painted up, because this one's gonna take me a while. A happy while, don't get me wrong, but I also need to get this painted up before my party gets to the boss, so that way I have a painted boss for him to fight. Oh, this is not... Took the primer all right, but it is not taking this base coat well. Okay. Yeah, the US used to have a lot more community, but really we're really spread out, which is definitely a double-edged sword because on the one hand, like don't get me wrong, I like having my alone time and just being around, but there is also that fun in community of building something together, getting something done. And so, we'll see how it goes. Even if I fail, I'll at least try my best and I'll get something going. And if I succeed, then hooray, I was able to do something. But it is what it is until then. For now, I'm just trying to relax on my day off. No, very true, man. Very true. Also, hey, Skyras, how have you been? But yeah, post COVID, it's definitely been a shift. Like, I can understand isolationism at a point, but yeah, post COVID, it's been weird, especially because almost every single time in my area that I've tried to go to community events, something always happens and they get shut down. So it's been weird, but that's just how things go sometimes. You just got to work on it, figure it out, and you got to build something up so that eventually we have something going on. That's what I'm hoping for, at least, because until then, we'll just see how it goes. But, oh man. Oh, I'm gonna have to figure out what I'm gonna paint these wings, because this is weird. Yeah, I can see that. I mean, it's also because it depends on the party, because like I've gone out for some parties to go out drinking and stuff, and personally I learned the hard way that me and drinking do not mix. Like I will straight up admit so people don't feel too bad about not liking to drink, I am a depressed drunk. So it's not exactly I gave it up just because if I go to a party and there's only drinking there, it's just not very fun, especially when a lot of our social interaction really seems to happen online now, post COVID, which I feel like has been a double-edged sword because on the one hand, I like having online interactions with my friends and the people that I'm around because I could keep in touch with people from different countries that I've met and been with. But at the same time, just locally, there's really nothing going on. And especially because if it's a party that, goodness gracious, I am dying, my bad. There's just been some parties in my local area that I've seen, and it really is just you drink, you dance, and that's really all that happens. There's not, I don't know, maybe it's just the hermit in me who dislikes a lot of people, but I just thoroughly dislike being around large crowds. Yeah, no, that's very fair. That's why I'm glad that the tabletop group I have is with church, so that way it's literally every Sunday right after church we get to meet up and then we play. But at the same time, being able to stay connected online is always very helpful. All right. Oh yeah, no, I absolutely love it. Right now I'm DMing a Wild West campaign that because my players decided to screw off into the Feywild, it's now devolved into like right now Dark Souls. Like there's no sugarcoating it. They just said we're going to the Feywild, and so I just had to decide on random crap and BS everything they're doing. I've been able to plan ahead now, so I've gotten some things figured out, but it really has devolved into Dark Souls. So Right now, to free one of them from a curse, they have to go kill Aldia, which is why I've got this guy. So that way it's technically Aldia, but I couldn't find any Aldia models. So I just went with a Gwyndolin and called it good, because Aldia does have Gwyndolin's projection. It takes over the back of him, but I don't have enough. I don't have enough kit bashing skills to attempt to kit bash this model to be Aldia. That's just not something I really feel comfortable doing right now. I want to do some more kit bashing though, especially once I start getting Warhammer minis, but that'll be a while. Oh man. I love this model. I love the details. Goodness gracious. These snakes are not gonna be easy to paint. So what I do appreciate on these snakes is the fact that they do have scale texture. I don't know if it's going to show because of how thin all the cuts are for these parts, but it is really cool. I do like it a lot. Oh. All good, man. Take care now. It is good to see you again. Hopefully things are going well on your side. At the very least, I hope so. Until then, man, take care. And I'll probably talk occasionally, but knowing me, I'm probably going to go silent for the most part. So we'll see how it goes. Da... Da... I will say though, and I do have a question for anybody who's more familiar with Dark Souls lore than I am. Why does Gwyndolin have snakes for legs? Because I know that he was forced to be a woman by his son, sorry, by his father, because he was a representative of the power of the moon, and his father didn't like the moon at all. But why the snake legs? Like, I'm genuinely curious why the snake legs for Gwyndolin. Was that just because Miyazaki said it would be cool and went with it, or is there like an actual in-lore reason? Because I do not really know. because for Dark Souls 1, I kind of know the overarching story a little bit, as much as because I do like watching the Brothers Code videos talk about it. Outside of that, I haven't done deep dives into every character just yet, because I've played a little bit and I've enjoyed it. I mostly just play with a scythe because I like the bleed damage. Yes, I know, bleed damage isn't looked upon favorably by the community, but I do like it a lot with the scythe. But I don't really know why the snake legs. And I'm very curious why snake legs. Because that seems like something that would. Because this is a design choice that you got to commit to. And I'm just curious what brought that about, or if there's a lore reason why, or if it's just simply because, nah, I think it's cool. We'll go with it. Oh, goodness, my glove got stuck. Oh yeah, shout out to my job for never really caring if I accidentally take a bunch of gloves home with me in my pocket. That's where I have all these from, is with my work. So I just come home, I'll take them out, and then I've just been storing them up because turns out it's kind of perfect to have a bunch of these on hand when you paint. I wouldn't have ever guessed, but I needed to find a way to get to use them, and so I'm using them. Granted, my workplace is very relaxed, all things considered, so I do appreciate that too. I mean, relaxed when it can be. I still work as a caregiver, so I can't be too relaxed on certain things, but there are some moments where we definitely mess around and have some fun. Okay, this moved about. Also, for anybody who is watching or paying attention, I will say recently that I have been watching some anime recently. I know that I started as an anime review channel. I haven't uploaded in a while. I just really haven't found much to talk about that really felt striking or pertinent to anything. Dang it, just snapped that. But I was watching one recently called, gosh, in English, it's From Bureaucrat to Villainess. Dad's Been Reincarnated. I don't know if anybody's actually been seeing that, but that one I've been enjoying a lot just for the fact that I do like watching the villainous anime, but I find that funny because this one's twisting it in ways that I didn't expect, and it's been delightful. Basically, anybody who hasn't been watching it recently, uh, it's an otaku father and mother. They have raised their daughter to be just as nerdy as them. And what happens one day is while he's coming back home from work, he pushes a kid out of the way of a truck, gets hit by a truck, and wakes up in the video game dating sim that his daughter was playing as the villain. And so, of course, as the villain, he's just trying to go, okay, technically, I'm supposed to be in the way of the main character, supposed to help the protagonist become better, help her overcome obstacles to do what's right. Except he's too wholesome of a dad, and so he ends up accidentally becoming the mother of the entire cast, which has been hilarious to watch because every time he tries to do something, he tries to act like a villain, it just turns out it's just him being a wholesome father and he can never do it right. So it's just been fun. It's had a good comedy. The twist I enjoy from it, though, is that as he's in a coma because he's not officially dead, his daughter and wife realize that his mind and consciousness has been transported into his daughter's video game, and so they're playing through the game, interacting and helping him in real time as he's going through his events, and they're trying to see what happens if they can maybe rescue him and get him out of there by finishing the game. It's been interesting. I've found the comedy to be really light and enjoyable, but it's also been wholesome. So there's nothing too crazy. There's not a whole lot of etchy or anything like that. It's just wholesome father, wholesome series that I highly recommend if anybody just wants a good palate cleanser for a comedy anime. But that's I've been watching that one. I've been watching Solo Leveling, which has been interesting because I started reading Solo Leveling at the advice of a friend back in like 2021 or so, and I finished it. I read it all because I actually did like it. And I find the reaction online to be kind of hilarious because I've had a few other content creators and other people reach out and like I've talked with them about Solo Leveling because some of them are asking me, is it worth watching? And I just straight up tell them, it's a power fantasy. It is a fun power fantasy that was carried by its artist. I don't remember the artist's name off rip right now, but they took a generic power fantasy that literally the entire plot serves to hype up the main character and how he overcomes obstacles, and they just make it look beautiful in the official artwork in the manhwa. That I've been keeping up with the animation just to see how the animation's going, and it's been getting better as time's gone on because season one was a little rough in some patches, but I am excited to see how it keeps going because I do like it. Again, it's to me, it's a generic power fantasy similar to an isekai. It's a bag of potato chips. Is this healthy? Is this inherently better than most things? Not really. It's comfort food. I like it, and I'm not going to sugarcoat it any other way. It's not a literary masterpiece. It's just power fantasy done best, just in power scaling. As far as an actual story goes, after the mom gets brought back, which already got animated, so don't be mad at me for spoilers. Uh, Once the mom gets brought back from the coma, she's that's kind of the most wholesome and impactful story moment. Outside of that, there's some lore that's drip fed to you as time goes on, but there's not a whole lot that really happens. So take that as you will. It's not exactly a literary masterpiece, but I think it's just enjoyable. It's a good comfort food that if you just want something that's fun, enjoyable to watch, and nothing complicated with no etchy scenes, because again, not everybody enjoys the degeneracy. I mean, you know from my name that where I stand on the whole thing. However, not everybody does. So I do like to give wholesome recommendations if somebody's ever curious from time to time, because that is a balance that we have to keep. Especially just because, gosh dang it, I am tired of people only watching shonen. Shonen is good, don't get me wrong, but I would like to hear people talk about more than just Demon Slayer, Naruto, Dragon Ball, and Attack on Titan. Outside of those, My Hero, I can respect and I enjoy talking about My Hero, but I have not kept up with the story. I think it was 2022, I think I read ahead in the manga and I got caught up and it was fine. I just couldn't keep it up because I thoroughly dislike the main character. Like, all the side characters are so much more interesting to me than Deku. And I know that's a hot topic. People really like him and it's a hot take and all that, but I just find him boring because his character really doesn't have a lot to do. All he does is get more powerful, and then everybody else actually has emotions. Personally, I mean, to illustrate my point, a few years back, I started working on a script for a video talk, giving my opinion on why I think Ida from the same class as Deku should have been the main character. because he has more emotional involvement and growth than Deku within the first 3 seasons than he had for like up to season 6. Again, it's a good show. There's a reason why it's getting animated and why people love it. I'm not dissing on that. But personally, I just couldn't keep up with it because I really did not like the main character. I just couldn't keep up with it. I couldn't stay by him. I understand people love it. I'm not going to diss on it. But I'm also not going to pretend that I thought it was a literary masterpiece when everybody else except the main character really has decent writing. And I'm not going to justify what some people say with, oh, it gets better after X arc. No, 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 no. In a story, you need to hook people from the beginning. If your hook does not carry, and if your story doesn't follow up for a few seasons or a few volumes, you're not selling yourself as a good writer for a concept. Like Undead Unlock, I was sold from episode 1 and stayed with that. And I've been heavily considering reading the manga in my free time. But My Hero had an interesting premise. I liked it a lot, and then I just kind of stopped caring. So, I don't know. That's just my hot take with My Hero Academia. And anime in general, but anime's weird. I feel like a lot more. It feels weird to say because it makes me sound like a boomer when I'm not, but to sound like an older weeb and to show my years, I feel like anime from like the early 2000s and before was a lot more. There's a lot more diversity in the stories they told. Sure, the character tropes were still the same as we have today, but there's something a lot more interesting. Like the Macross series, I find 10 times more interesting than a lot of the other series that are coming out nowadays. Gundam still holds up even with its older animation. The story still holds up quite well from what I have seen. I haven't finished it because I'm late to the party with Gundam because I didn't even realize that I would like mecha anime until I remembered certain things. But that's just a whole can of worms. But also, I've been thinking about more older and retro anime just because recently people were talking about Ghost in the Shell on Twitter. I came across a few posts about that, and I really want to rewatch Ghost in the Shell. Because Ghost in the Shell has been one of my favorite animes for the longest time. It's easily in my top 5, I would say. But also, that series has been impactful and given a lot of time to grow that it's kind of hard not to acknowledge its success and impact on other industries and other stories. But that one, definitely one of my all-time favorites. I kind of want to rewatch it. I don't rewatch a lot, but it's been in the back of my mind to rewatch it again because I just rewatched Konosuba because it was it's been weird in the past 3 years. People went from saying Konosuba was one of the best anime ever, then a lot of people now are saying that it's trash. And so I just looked at it as, well, okay, I'm gonna rewatch it because is it nostalgia keeping me here to saying it was good, or was it actually good? And thankfully, to my relief, I am the target audience for it, so I actually did enjoy the comedy when I rewatched it. It still holds up, and it's still a parody of the fantasy isekai genre in general, but its story's still better than 90% of most isekai that come out every season. So I know that's not exactly a high bar to clear, but it's still a bar that needs to be cleared because gosh dang it, I like isekai with a good story. If I have to go through slop and just see a generic power fantasy, I'm not going to be too invested. Because power fantasy can be fun to watch, but there's only so much I can listen to, so much I can do before everything just feels the same. But it is what it is. All right. Need to clean off my brush. We're going to get started on these guys. Okay. Though I will say that, as a side tangent, I really wish there was more racing anime. I don't know what it is, because I like racing games. Right now, whenever I get a chance, I love playing Pacer on my computer because I like the more sci-fi hover vehicles running at 500 kilometers or so. Just having something that feels like it's weighty in speed. I like it a lot. But so far, all I can find has been like Initial D is what got me into racing in general. I like I liked that anime a lot, and it's one and I just dropped that. But it's an anime that I started watching back in like 2013. Because I was looking for new anime, and a guy that my mother was dating at the time, he happened to have watched it back in the 90s when it was coming out. So he recommended that I watch it, and so I took a look at it, and I really enjoyed it. And so one thing that I've wanted to do is look for other racing anime. There haven't been a whole lot. There's Speed Racer, and then there's the F-Zero anime, which I was surprised F-Zero even had an anime because that's just not something I expected Nintendo to do, because Nintendo really hasn't given F-Zero a whole lot of love, except apparently more than I ever thought, because they gave F-Zero an anime of all things. And the anime was actually pretty solid. It's like 50 some episodes, but it was fun to watch because what they did is they had a main character who came from our world in like current day of like the 90s, and in the Futurama, in a sense, is just ripping off Futurama. Dude gets cryo frozen after a massive accident as a police officer, only to wake up in the far future where, in this setting, the police have to thwart the mafia. In the future, the police have to compete in the races that they rig to make money on, so that the police get all of the actual money because they can't get enough evidence to arrest the mafia. And so the main character is just a beat cop who turns out he wasn't the only one preserved from the past. The guy he was chasing, who put him in a coma for thousands of years, or hundreds of years, I can't remember which one it was, but for, we'll say, 100 years, dude just woke up, and other dude, heavily modified cyborg, he was just a regular ass human. And so he just joins as beat cop to race, and Captain Falcon occasionally just shows up, saves the day, and wins the prize money as a bounty hunter, which ultimately works for the cops because the whole thing that the cops don't want to deal with is the mafia getting the money. It's a very interesting anime that I was not expecting. It was fun to watch, but not too heavy or focused on the racing. Initial D definitely, I think, is the better racing anime I've seen so far. But I kind of wish there was more racing anime in general. I know Initial D is getting a new reboot, or whatever the new season that came out was, because I have not kept up with Initial D in a hot minute. But I'm curious to see what they do with the new series. I also lost a bet with one of my friends, so I also have to watch all of Uma Musume, which that's, I think I pronounced it right. It's Pretty Derby. It's the horse girl anime, which that's going to be interesting because sure, anime has definitely gotten me to acknowledge that I like watching cute girls do cute things. Apparently, that's just a genre that is really entertaining to watch. But it's not one that I ever figured would be for me. Not one that I ever thought I'd like. And yet, here I am. So, we'll see how that goes. But, depending on how it is, I might make a video on it. But first, I want to finish my centaur anatomy video because I spent months researching that. And I really want to get that centaur video out when I can. Main issue right now is I just need to pay for my editing license again, just because I use Filmora to edit my videos. And Filmora is good. I like it a lot. It's very convenient, but my bank thoroughly dislikes me trying to pay for it. And so I don't even remember how I paid for it the last time, but I need to figure it out so I can do it again. And also probably talk to my bank and be like, hey, yes, I know it's a company based in China, but I pay them because I like their service. Please just let me pay them so I can edit my videos again, please. But we'll see how that goes. I will say though, I've been waiting for these models to show up for a while, because for some reason after the last 3 Kenku I made, I really just had the idea of making a Kenku warband for a future D&D campaign, where it's just a warband of Kenku who all look like roughly the same, and just harass the party as a consistent threat for the world, so I can use as world building. So I've got the Kenku here that I'm really excited to build up and add, because I only have 3 of them. I got a dude with a bow, a dude with a war drum, and a dude with a banner. So I want to get these 3 painted up to add to it, because then I've got 2 fighters and a rogue for the most part. But then I found there's some rabbits. One that has a banner, one that has a fife, or a flute, whatever you want to call it. Essentially the same thing, just depends on how many metal parts there are. And a dude with, I assume it's a shillelagh or a very odd dagger. But I figured, okay, I will have a rabbit kingdom and then a Kenku kingdom. So the Herringon versus the rat. So birds versus hares. See how it goes. But I'm excited for that. That, and also because I want to build enough minis so I can do a Redwall inspired campaign. Because Redwall was very influential in my childhood, and I really love it. So finding all the minis that I have on Etsy that are essentially Redwall adjacent or could be Redwall, it'd be really exciting to build up a campaign, see how that goes. Especially because I know some people who actually watched Redwall enjoyed it, and some people who know of it but never read the books or watched the TV series. That it'd be cool to get them to try it just to see what they think of it by just doing a campaign based in it. So we'll see. For now, just gotta paint these guys up. Goodness, I also need to finish making my other videos. I've started so many scripts that I need to actually finish and record the audio for. Because one of them that I was working on was the Halo TV series, because I made a video about Season 1. Season 2 came out, and I decided, okay, I'm going to watch all of Season 2, make a review of it, and then I'm going to give my pitch for how I would have written a Halo TV series, and why I think it would have done better. But I was also, because I'm a bit of a diva when it comes to all this content creator stuff, I was making a new PNG for the video just to have my own flair, but also to put in some dedication of, hey, I'm doing something different. This is my video, my mark, and how I would do it. Just so that it made more sense that way. But that's mostly what I've been working on so far. Oh. And then, so the Halo video I need to get done. I need to get done my, what was it called? Call of the Night, that's right. The Call of the Night anime, I want to finish my review on that one. And then I need to just get my Centaur video recorded and edited, because I have the script for the most part done. I don't know if I'm going to change anything else, but we'll see. Because I spent months studying horse and human anatomy and centaur anatomy from what other series have said. And it's friggin' hilarious that just about every series that claims to talk about centaur anatomy, for the most part, doesn't actually talk about the anatomy. They just kind of go, shit, we don't know, man. Come back later. Maybe we'll figure something out. Maybe we won't. So it has been funny just seeing how that has worked. All right. The space is primed it, then we're going to go for a pass on everything else. shoot. I was not meant... I did not mean to touch that one. Gosh dang it, I got primer on him. Okay. Gonna repaint that. Get that primer off. Okay. This model is going to be challenging. I'm excited to tackle it, but this one is super tiny. Compared to Gywndolin, you have a big difference in height. So much easier to make mistakes on this one, but still, I'm excited to see how this one turns out, because I saw this mini, I think 2 months ago, and knew I really wanted to get it as a cleric for like as an NPC cleric or a cleric in my setting. Which I am excited to see how this one paints up, because I think this will turn out super well, but we'll just have to see. Especially because not every mini takes to paint that well. Especially Wraithbone. Wraithbone, I've noticed with this color, it's a good color, but putting it directly onto primers sometimes does not work as well as you would hope. So you got to do a lot of layers to make it work. I mean, the same could be said for every color of blue I've ever tried to use before. Like, outside of, I think, Thousand Suns Blue from Games Workshop, just about every other time I've had to use, like, a blue paint, it just doesn't work too well. Like, it comes out super thin, super dark, and you have to layer that thing about 4 to 5 times before it actually starts showing the vibrant color that the bottle or the label claims it is. And that can definitely be annoying, because I just want to paint like maybe 2 to 3 layers to get it done. If I have to do somewhere like 6 just to make it work, that gets really annoying to me. Because if it doesn't layer evenly, then you really gotta futz about making sure that you paint evenly and get those layers done right. That is just something that takes up a lot of effort that feels unnecessary at times. But I also don't know how paint works, so maybe just something with the paints that I've used before. I can't really say. I'm not much of a painting genius or expert. I just started painting this year, and this has been scratching an itch in my head. I've been working with it ever since. Hmm. Time has come. I've procrastinated enough. I need to repaint this one's eyes. Because I painted over her so I could get her skin redone to be a darker color. Because I accidentally painted the green to be too vibrant, and that was not good. So, got that. Gonna do what I did last time and just use a little bit of orange. Because I felt like that popped better than anything else I had. If I don't drop my paintbrushes, of course. Okay. Okay, where's my knife? Because now, to get the eyes, I need to sharpen this and flatten it. Because my paintbrushes are too big for this to work. Okay. With this, gonna grab her. Carefully dab the eyes so I can get that's too much. Okay. Well, we're going to spread it around a bit. And then I'll just paint around it with green. Ah. I need to layer this orange out to be a bit more vibrant for the eyes. Gosh, I wish my phone was better at focusing when I was doing camera stuff. Because this is just really bad quality. And I do apologize for the people watching. I promise to get a better camera soon. I just don't have the money. As first I gotta get a new wheel on my car. But I'll get that done soon. Okay. I think I got it good enough. I can just carefully grab a thin brush and I should be able to just paint the skin color around her eyes and get this and call her done. Hopefully. You know what? I should just be able to thin that out and call that good on the face then. As long as I'm careful and don't screw this up. I just need to carefully. Okay. I need to fix the hair, but oh, thank goodness. I was scared I was going to screw up those eyes. I really did not want to have to repaint the eyes multiple times. Oh boy, okay. So we got that. Just need to find my black. Okay. Then I need to get that. Where did I set that toothpick? There. Okay. So then I need to get her hair back to the right color. Because when I had to fix her skin color, it just nicked the hair. I just realized what I said out of my mouth. That, oh boy, out of context, that's gonna get me in trouble. But it is what it is. Everything on the internet stays on the internet. I can't escape it even if I wanted to. Ah, shoot. Smacked her shoulder. Okay. Okay. Just gotta fix the shoulder. But this one is done. I really wish the black showed up more, because I was trying to go for an actual skin, like, scale type that I see on real snakes. It shows up, hilariously enough, better on the camera than it does in real life, because there's the purple tail, and then I try to do black, like a black spotted pattern all the way down the side, on the back, in the middle. It just doesn't show up as clearly as I wanted it to, but it's also kind of difficult because I don't know if I can just coat the black multiple times to make it shine more, or if I need to do something else. But that is something I can figure out at a later time. Because for now, I just want to finish getting this skin coat, and I'm just gonna leave her to dry. Got enough on that. Oh, my back. Okay. I really need to get a new chair too, because the chair I'm sitting in right now does not. It takes up a lot of space, but doesn't really let me move forward. So I'm kind of hunched over like a shrimp as I'm trying to paint all this, and pretty sure somebody, especially my mother, is going to be mad if she ever saw that. But hey, that's just how things go. Okay. What did I use on these guys before? I know I've got my box somewhere. My old minis. It's not that one. There it is. Okay. Okay. Get all the cotton balls out. Where are my... There they are. Okay, you're just going to be off to the side because you're a mascot. Yeah. There they are. Okay. Okay. So I was trying to find these three because these three are the originals for the other models that I'm painting up right now. Once I can get all the fluff off them. Basically, purple for the cloak tunic thing. The handle on a sword snapped off. I don't know where it went, or else I'd have glued it back on, so that's gone. But trying to match the pant colors with the shirts. I don't remember which of my leathers that I used for it. So these three here. So I could get these guys going. Let's see, because it was... I think it was red leather that I used for the pants, so we're going to try that first. Once I open the pot, and carefully get this all out and mixed. Okay. I'll say the one downside to streaming on my phone like this is as I'm trying to paint, I normally listen to music when I'm not streaming it. And recently I've taken up, apparently dropping my minis, but I've also recently taken up listening to, there's a YouTuber I found a while ago called Puffer Glitch Ambience, where they do Star Wars and other, like, sci-fi fantasy, like, inspired ambient stuff. They started making their own Star Wars inspired music in Huttese. It's a modified version of Huttese, which probably is for the best for legal reasons and stuff. But I've been listening to their shady nightclub stuff for a while now, and I really like what they do with their stuff. But recently, they started re-releasing all of their fan-made songs individually, so I can listen to the ones I prefer over the... And when I was at the gym last night, I listened to one of their songs called Booster Blue for a while. I ended up hitting a PR too, which was really nice. But also just took a while. But painting in silence feels weird. As soon as I can, when I can upgrade my stuff, I'm definitely going to be listening to their stuff in the background while I paint, because I need. Just having something to focus and get me in the zone definitely helps. Because right now, it feels weird being so silent. I try my best to talk and at least fill the silence, but sometimes I get a little too focused that I get nervous I'm going to screw up a detail or something, so I try my best. Also, why did I... Man. This dude. This raised leg is killing me on this angle. I know I've got an angled brush that would help, but... Man. Okay. It's one of them down. For now, I'm gonna have to repass and look over them again once everything dries. It's one mini down. We're gonna go with this guy now, because he should hopefully be much more simple to paint. Hopefully, but never know till something comes up. My idea with this guy is also, considering his pose, I want to put a little scar over this eye and give him a cataract effect, or a blind effect, in a sense, just so that way he's a little bit more different than the others, as more of like a veteran. Because so far, whenever I painted these guys up, it's been very simple of black and purple mixed to get a dark shade for the feathers, pure black for the eyes, the beak, and then the talons. But since they all have normal, regular eyes, they don't look like they've been in too many battles. So I kind of want to give this guy a messed up eye, or at least a facial scar, just to show that he's been around the block a bit. Also because I want to practice with getting my layers done better, so that way it shows something besides just a color on top of color. And I feel like it'd be a great way to force me to redouble my efforts and focus on thinning my paints correctly to make it happen. No, you're fine, me cool. I mostly just do this so I can document my process. I don't really mind not getting a whole lot of viewers, just because that's just how things go when you start out. Like, my camera quality, oh, thank you. My camera quality isn't really the best right now, so once I get a better camera, once I have some more stuff, everything will look better, and hopefully I'll get better with also making content. For now, though, I'm just trying to document this. Yeah, I'm not trying to make it big as a YouTuber. I just do this because it's fun. I started my channel. All right, then. Have a good day. Take care now. Well, I will explain for my sanity, because I already started the sentence in the thought. I started my whole YouTube channel just for the fact that I straight up wanted to just have my autistic rants about media, so I can talk about media and whatever's going on and what's on my mind, so I could spare my friends my rants, because goodness gracious, some of my friends will tell you that if there is something bad happening with like a TV show adaptation, a game or whatever, and like the lore or the story was getting messed up, if I knew about it, I could go for hours talking about how bad some things were. However, not everybody wants that in their discussions. Some people just want to talk about the weather or what's kind of been going on in life in general in a more subdued way. And because of that, I just decided, okay, I'll just shout my thoughts to the void, and if anybody likes it, cool. If not, at least I got it out. And it's helped me with just being able to get my thoughts out without having to make my friends and family suffer through every single rant I have about something that was dumb. So it's that. And also I've had fun with making content. At first it started as a way just to talk about nerd shit without having to get everybody else stuck with it. But now it's kind of just become its own thing where I actually really enjoy making content. Once I'm in a bit more of a stable spot, I hope to keep making more of it. But it'll take a while. But I'm not expecting anything from this. This is just a hobby. And a perfect excuse to document all of my minis, because I started painting minis this year, and I wanted to make sure that I could keep a consistent log, so that way I could see how my skills were, my technique, and over the years I can just come back and go, hey, this is how I started. If I started like this, you can start as well, and just make that work. So that's what I'm hoping for. However, we shall see how it all goes, because never know what the future brings. Not to mention, I'm also a horrible content creator because I have a discount code with a store and I do not shill it all that often. So thinking of which, if anybody is ever interested in checking out the products, use code QUAIL for 10% off your order at poggerslifestyle.com. I actually do drink their stuff. I have multiple cans and I use their cans in the background to set minis up, which helps with getting things in front of the camera. They make nice little stands and props, so I do like their stuff. It's been helping me drink more water. Essentially, for those who don't know what Poggers is, it's similar to Gamer Supps and G Fuel, but all they do is flavoring powder and water, and it helps you with drinking more water. I know for me, I have a massive sweet tooth, and drinking Poggers has helped me with drinking less soda in my life, which has helped me a lot because I'm trying to lose weight, and replacing soda with Poggers has definitely helped me with getting things figured out. I also don't use their caffeine stuff because caffeine makes me tired. So I just use their hydration packs. But so far, I've only tried 2 flavors. I've tried Rocket Pop, which was the newest when they first signed and made a deal with me, and then Watermelon is the one I got, and I've enjoyed Watermelon quite a bit. So if anybody is curious about trying it out, give it a shot. And if you use code QUAIL, you get 10% off the entire order, and you support me. And I'm always excited because anything I'm getting with that discount code is going straight to making more content, either helping me to upgrade a new camera or it's going to just pay for more minis. Really just depends on how much I make and what's going on with it. But it's not for personal use. It's just, well, it is for personal use in a way, but it's mostly just how I'm going to continue making content on a consistent basis is what I plan to use it for. Oh, there, I shilled. I did it. I made sure to actually plug my code in a more assertive way. That's how I'll phrase it, in an assertive way. But yeah. Oh boy. I am liking how these guys are turning out. My Kenku warband is coming together, and I am very excited. Because hopefully, that means I'll be able to get everything else figured out. And I'll be able to torment my friends more. Which, as a DM, tormenting my friends is always my favorite. Ugh. But I'm never using these cotton balls to safely package and move a mini again. All this fluff on here. I mean, it'd be cool if I wanted to do some sort of fog effect, but I don't know about that right now. All right. I think I'm going to do some more base coats on this one because I'm really excited to have her in my campaign. She's just going to be a cleric NPC. But I need to get some base coats on her, make sure that the Wraith Bone shows up well. So that way, with the white on there, I can then start painting some details and then get the armor painted up as well. But first things first. Just coating this on evenly. My phone's starting to heat up, so I'm gonna have to leave soon so that my phone can relax before it bursts into flames. But one final thought I wanted to have before I actually finished up is the new Pokemon game that's coming out, Pokemon Legends ZA. I'm actually kind of excited for it. Kalos, Kalos isn't my favorite region. Don't get me wrong. I'm not the biggest fan of the X and Y games, but I did like the setting and I liked the Pokemon. I think the Pokemon really were unique and I had a lot of fun with them. Of course, it's also home to one of my favorite Pokemon, Dragalge, because poison types are my personal favorite type of all time, and a poison dragon type is exactly something that I wanted. But outside of that, I am really excited to see how everything turns out with that because with a smaller map, that means they can actually populate it with things because I do not like open world games. I understand the appeal, I understand why people like them. I like a game with a narrative. I want focus in the world. And quite honestly, there are just some things that happen with open world games that just lose my interest. It's why I wasn't a big fan of the newer Legend of Zelda games, Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. They're fine games, don't get me wrong, but I'm not the target for that kind of game when my favorite Legend of Zelda game is Twilight Princess. Yes, I know it has a lot of flaws, but again, it was a narrative first kind of game, and that's what got me into it and what kept me excited for it. So, of course, in a game that has a narrative but not as emphasized as Twilight Princess, it's definitely going to be a difficult sell for me. Not because it's necessarily bad, but because it's just not my style. But with Pokemon Legends ZA having potentially a narrative focus while in a city, and that's just your entire area, I actually do like it because it gives me hope that things will be populated. Because Generation 9 is fun to play. Arvin's story was good, and then the final story was good. But Penny and Nimona didn't have a story. I couldn't care less about them. Penny, especially as a character, I'm just like, I do not care about you. And so Team Star was always a slog for me whenever I played. But I did have fun. I'm not going to say that it wasn't a fun game. It was buggy. The open world was super spacious in not a good way. Just felt like there was nothing to do but run. And it just wasn't all that interesting to me now. So I hope with the new game coming out that they actually populate the world a bit more. Because quite honestly, I would be excited to see what happens in a world where, in Lumio City, where you're actually building it up and having national parks with Pokemon in the city. I think it'd be cool. I'm looking forward to it. I'm probably going to go with Chikorita for my starter, just because Chikorita needs some love. Totodile, I like a lot, don't get me wrong. Tepig, I do not like Embor. Tepig is cute, I hate Embor as a final. I really did not want a bipedal pig, but that's what we got. But overall, I'm excited to see what happens there. But we'll see as more things are revealed. Until then, thank you guys for coming by. Thanks everybody for stopping in and for watching. And I hope you all have a good day. Till then, I gotta let my phone cool down. See ya.